The Piper of Glenfinnan. The music in the highlands. In the rolling green hills of Glenfinnan, a small village nestled between lochs and heather-covered slopes, lived a young piper named Ewan MacLeod. Ewan was known across the highlands for the way he played the bagpipes. His music carried through valleys like the call of the wind itself, sometimes joyful, sometimes mournful, but always powerful. But Ewan had a fiery temper, inherited from generations of MacLeods who never backed down from a quarrel. His closest friend was Calum Fraser, another villager. They grew up side by side, fishing in the lochs, herding sheep, and laughing until their bellies hurt. They were as close as brothers, a rift between friends. One summer, during the village's harvest festival, a small argument between Ewan and Calum turned sour. Calum teased Ewan about a mistake he made during a piping competition. Ewan, quick to anger, lashed out, accusing Calum of jealousy. Words flew like arrows, sharp and wounding. By the end of the night, the two friends who once shared everything now turned their backs on each other. Days turned into months, and the silence between them grew heavier than the fog that settled over the glen. Villagers tried to mend things, but neither man would take the first step. Pride had built a wall thicker than stone, the storm and the rescue. One autumn evening, a terrible storm swept across the highlands. Rain lashed down, and winds howled through the valleys. Calum had gone out to check on his sheep near the cliffs. When he didn't return, the villagers grew worried. Search parties were sent, lanterns flickering against the storm, but no one could find him. Ewan stood apart, his heart torn. "Why should I care?" he muttered. But deep down, he knew the truth. He still loved Calum like a brother. Finally, unable to bear it, Ewan grabbed his pipes and climbed the cliffs. Standing on the highest rock, he began to play a haunting tune, one that he and Calum had played together as boys. The sound carried through the storm, echoing in the night, and then faintly a voice cried out. Calum had been trapped at the edge of the cliffs, clinging to a ledge. The sound of Ewan's pipes guided the villagers to him. Together, they pulled him to safety. The hardest words. Back in the village, soaked and trembling, Calum looked at Ewan with tears in his eyes. "You saved my life," he whispered. Ewan's hands shook. "I almost didn't. My pride kept me from you for too long. I'm sorry, Calum." The villagers fell silent, watching the moment unfold. Calum stepped forward and placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. "And I'm sorry for the words I spoke that night. A jest should never have cost us a friendship. Can you forgive me?" Ewan's eyes filled with tears. "Only if you can forgive me too." And there, in the glow of the firelight, the two men embraced, their feud washed away like footprints in the rain. The piper's lesson. From that day on, whenever Ewan played his pipes, the villagers said they sounded different, softer, kinder, deeper. For his music carried not only the sound of the highlands, but the sound of forgiveness. Children grew up hearing the tale, how two stubborn friends nearly lost each other forever, and how forgiveness saved them both. And whenever quarrels broke out in Glenfinnan, elders would say, "Remember the Piper of Glenfinnan, pride builds cliffs, but forgiveness builds bridges." Moral of the story: holding on to anger builds walls. Forgiveness tears them down and restores what matters most.